there. My name is Sibi Thompson. I am the co-founder of AWM Education Services. We have our main branch in Melbourne, and we have got an office in Harare. What do? We do a lot of things. We bring in international students to Australia, and not only Australia, we deal with Germany, we deal with United Kingdom, Canada, Malaysia. We also deal with Georgia in Europe. We've recently started Fiji, which is a fantastic island. And we have got Slovenia, we've got Russia, we've got many countries around the world. And the most important thing is we are supported by an organization called ISEF. That's where we get our contracts from. So we are sort of a reputable agent, which is well known around the world. Why come to us? Yes, we've got a backing of what we call migration agents. So when you come to us, we actually we give you career guidance, and we make sure we actually match what you're supposed to do. Many years ago, we never used to have sort of like career guidance, or we were told, oh, you know somebody who's a nurse, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a teacher. But we also look at how you are as a person, your personality. We do a personality test. How are you as a person? What do you want to achieve in life? We look at your family background. Who's going to pay these fees? What can they afford? And we don't just go on, I want to be a doctor, I want to be in this, and the parents are struggling. So we get into your personal life, into your social life. We gather all those facts, and we try and help you accordingly. So, why did I end up doing this? It's really important. I think it's a very important question. I left Zimbabwe many years ago, and I'm talking about the 80s. I've been out of the country most of my life, my adult life actually, in UK, Ireland, Scotland, and now in Australia. That's where I thought about, why can't I take all that I've learned in all these countries back home? It's important you actually take your skills back and share with the others. That's how AWM was formed, to assist Zimbabweans who are actually struggling at the moment with not much career guidance, and also a lot of it is not to know what to do next in life. We are gathering a lot of degrees. I can say I think we are one of the most educated country in terms of the number of degrees people are accumulating, but there is no money coming in. And money is where it's all leading to. You go to school to have a reputable job to earn money. So we are having all this education but no money. So that takes me to, yes, you come to us as a student, we advise you. And there is one important thing when you go into a foreign country, it can be very daunting. People start thinking, am I going to get a job to look after myself? Am I going to get, how am I going to get accommodation? Who's going to pay for it? Of course, parents can give you money, but we try and move away from parents paying for your living. So at AWM, we encourage a lot of independence. So what do we put in place to encourage independence? Okay, so we've introduced a course called Certificate in Aging. So it's a very important course in any international student. You go to UK, they don't actually, I think they're called NVQs, but in UK you can actually go to some facilities and actually go start working without the certificate course. But if you're specifically coming to Australia, or even if you want to go to UK, you want to outclass some of the people, your competitors, having this course called Certificate in Aging, and we're bringing also Certificate in Disability, Certificate in Early Childhood, and Certificate in Youth Work. So having an aged care certificate is really important, because when you come to Australia, that's what you call the bread and butter. You do your placements in Australia, and then you start work. So how does this work? So we start off with a 13-week theory course, which is done in Zimbabwe at our facilities at corner Nelson Mandela and 3rd. And it's 2nd floor, so the training school takes about 20 students. And in there you've got a teacher that does skills labs, and skills are done 2 hours a week. And obviously the way it's programmed, you actually have teachers who are teaching from Australia. As I say, it's an Australian-based certificate. So all your trainers are in Australia via online services. And where does it take you? Okay, so it's a very important question. Why do the certificate? You can work in any aged care facility, and in Australia, in most of the individual homes, which is really, really important. So nursing homes, residential homes, and in people's homes. So that's the sort of jobs that you get from doing a certificate 3. So yeah, you're going to have a direction. Obviously, you finish your 13-week course, you've got 3 options that you can have. So most of our students that started in June, some of them, obviously, they didn't think about coming to Australia. They stayed in Zimbabwe. That's option 1. So you get a full certificate. Remember, this is a non-credited course. So you get a free a full certificate in Zimbabwe saying that you've actually completed the course. So with that certificate, most of our students that started in June have actually secured jobs in nursing homes, and other people are looking for, obviously, jobs in individual homes, and some of them have been employed. And soon we'll be rolling out an agency called AWM Angels, and that is it's sort of like an agency that's going to be providing people who want to be looked after at home in their own home. So you work sort of at an hour, some hour basis. So let's say, for example, somebody wants to be showered in the morning, so you can actually go at 7 and finish at 9 o'clock. So it's all, if you've got kids to take to school, you rush the kids to school at 9 o'clock, come back after 3, do some lunchtime, cook for that person lunch, and go back and pick up your kids. So it's going to be very, very flexible, and for those people that want to, spend time with their kids and also work at the same time. So option 2 is you can come to Australia on a visitor's visa, and everything that is required by immigration as a visitor is in place. But the only extra thing that you get is you will be given a letter of support by AITT, which is our provider, to say you are coming to do your placements and completing this certificate, because on a visitor's visa, you can study, you're allowed to study for 3 months. So it's important you know that everything that immigration requires will be applicable. The only additional thing is AITT will give you an invitation letter to come to Australia to come and complete your placements. And please note, you're not allowed to work on a visitor's visa. You can only come and do the course, but you're not allowed to work. Option 3 is the most common one that is being taken by many people and very popular because it gives you a lot of skills. So you finish your 13 weeks and you have to apply for a diploma either of community, early childhood, or a diploma of youth work, whatever you choose to study. From the diploma, you will then come in on what we call a study visa for 2 years. Everything else applies that is required by immigration for a student visa. And the only additional thing that you have is you will have a letter actually from the college AITT stating that you are coming. It's a continuation of your course from the certificate now going to the diploma. So what happens when you get to Australia? Your visa is granted. You have to do 120 hours of placements. Then you get your full, now credited, because you are now in Australia, your full credited certificate, and then you can start work. It gives you the work rights and you work ready. And as a student, remember, you're only allowed to work 40 hours a week. When you are in college, once school is finished, when you're on holiday, unlimited hours, you can work as many hours as you want. The diploma costs $16,000. Remember, different colleges charge differently. Some colleges $16,000 for 2 years, some $16,000 for 1 year, and it can be the same cost. It just depends on the college. Well, first of all, when you get your diploma, the $16,000 for the diploma, you can pay it in installments. It's important to know that in Australia, you can pay your fees in installments. And then if you want to study further, the world is your oyster. Look, you can go for Bachelor of Social Work and Masters of Social Work. When you go to masters, you can apply for a graduate visa where you are allowed to stay in Australia for 18 months. Whilst that period, if you wish to be sponsored, you can actually be sponsored by an employer, and then stay further to sort of obtain more skills. And remember, guys, you have to go home and share your skills again. It's important to know that. Take it back home. Don't keep it in Australia. Take it back home and share the skills. Zimbabwe needs your skills. Okay, in set 3, how do you get access? So we've got workbooks that you work with. So each unit, as you complete, you go through a few sort of set of questions which you answer, and then they send for marking, and once you pass, you proceed to the next one. So this is adult learning, guys. So it's important to know it's adult learning. You come into class, you have 1 or 2 hours of class of lectures. Some of it is recorded, so you can actually play it at home when you want to. Everything can be accessed online. So all you need is you make sure you discipline yourself by studying. So you can be accessed through via workbooks. You will study 13 units, and in that units they are quite extensive. It involves also learning about the body system and the parts of the body, because all these elderly people you're going to be looking after, some will have problems with the bowel, some will have problems with the blood pressure. So you are taught all that. So all in all, it's 13 units, and you get to do a unit which is first aid, which is really extensive and intensive, because you need to know this, because most of your work is going to be in people's individual homes. Only know it's 1,440, so that includes the placements when you come to Australia. Entry requirements. This is a skills course. So in Australia, they actually look for your capability, your maturity. So this is not a course where you are actually asked to say we need O levels, A levels. But then in Zimbabwe, AITT, because you are coming as an international student, we would like to see 5 O levels. You don't have to pass them. We will hold interviews where we're looking for maturity, your stress levels, how much can you take, because caring can be really, really stressful. So it's important we interview. We want to know whether you can write assignments, because as you go into diploma level, you have to be able to write assignments. So these are the things we're going to be looking for. So the 5 O levels, you don't have to have a pass. You can have all 5 U's as long as you've actually entered an O level class. That's what we're looking for. So you've got lots of support. The teachers in Australia are available 24/7. So they are sleeping, Zimbabwe is awake. So by the time you guys wake up and you start thinking, oh, how can I get hold of my teacher? Your teacher would have posted all your questions. If you have to post your questions via Moodle. If you want to talk to them, they are always available. You can pick up the phone and talk to them. The skills lab teacher is always available as well, and if there's a problem, you always contact Australia for support, but the teachers in Australia are available on Moodle whenever you want any support, and we will support you. Okay, it's important that you proceed. You are an international student, and I am talking out of 10 can be lucky and get employed with the certificate 3, but you're going to have to have a year of experience or a year or 2 of experience. But it's important to know that certificate 3 only doesn't let you can get employed. Of course, it's automatic. You got a certificate, you go in and get employed. It's important that you are interviewed, and you know that you have to pass the interview to be employed. You can't expect to be employed without an interview. So you get interviewed like anyone else, and then you pass your interview, and then you get your job. So certificate 3, yes, I would say there will be jobs available. I've not yet had anybody who's holding a certificate 3 in Australia and say I cannot be employed, unless if they've done something wrong, then they cannot be employed. But most of the people that have a certificate 3 are employed in Australia. And then obviously some people have been lucky. Once they're doing their placements, they're lucky to be employed, especially if you're coming on a diploma and you've got 2 years stay. So they go for their placements, and then they get employed, and they don't have to go anywhere else. They continue working with that same employer. And some of the students have been lucky, and they have actually been employed at certificate 3, but then that employer will have to be approved to actually sponsor people to work. So they have to go through the sponsorship process, which is obviously immigration involved. Well, you have to come to class 2 hours per week for the lectures that will be online, and some of the information is going to be recorded online by your trainer in Australia. And also the skills lab, like I said before, the skills labs are done in Zimbabwe by the teacher who's very well experienced in first aid and all the individual and aged care facility information. So learning is self-paced. It's up to you how long you're going to take. And this is also adult learning. And I repeat, this is an adult learning. It's not something that we are pulling people in class 5-7 hours a day. You can only have a lecture for 1 hour, and the rest is up to you to study. If you go to bachelor and master's level, yes, you can stay for, like I said before, you can stay. Obviously, we'll have to refer you to the migration consultants, and they can advise you accordingly. But remember, you're coming in on a temporary visa. So when you want to stay and take it further, we'll have to refer you to the migration consultants for further advice. The pathways are obviously, like I said before, from your certificate 3, you can go to diploma, from diploma to bachelor's, and from bachelor's, you can actually end up with master's and then go for a graduate visa.